What if LSU beats Clemson on the road? That's also a week 1 game. This game will be Saturday night. It will be on ABC. Right now, Clemson is about a 4-point favorite over the Bayou Bengals. Now, what is the bigger picture fallout here? Well, this would be massive for the Southeastern Conference. Okay. This will be significant. Now, the SEC doesn't often need any momentum in the court of public opinion. They are almost always given the benefit of the doubt. And understandably, if you look at the SEC's performances over the last 20 years in playoff scenarios, they've fared really well. LSU has won multiple national championships in the last 20 years, 07 and in 19. And on the biggest stage, LSU has played well when given that opportunity. So this would be huge for the SEC because if it comes down to season's end and the SEC's, say, 3rd, 4th place team in LSU has a win over the potential ACC champion, think about how much this could benefit the SEC's at-large field. So it won't affect Clemson. Clemson still wins the ACC. They still go to the playoff. We know that. But if LSU now has a win against them, that will only benefit their argument to be made at season's end. So possible playoff ramifications in week 1 for LSU. Now, how does LSU do it? LSU is going to have to be really good along the offensive line. That's the entire question mark going into this one. We know how good Clemson is along the defensive front. We know that Peter Wood's a defensive tackle. We know TJ Parker a defensive end. We know the second-level defenders that they have that could potentially take over the game. We know how good they've been on the perimeter. It means that LSU held up in protection and gave Garrett Nussmeier plenty of opportunities to throw the ball downfield to try to take advantage of some of the matchup nightmares that they can create on the outside with their improved wide receiver core. So that's probably how LSU got it done. Now, how did Clemson lose? Maybe LSU's newly disruptive defensive front. Maybe their new additions defensively. Their new additions on the outside at corner step up against elite level wide receivers for Clemson. Maybe their defensive front creates some problems with their pass rush and applies pressure to Cade Klubnik. Maybe LSU's second level defenders, with Weeks coming back from injury, Harold Perkins, remember him? Maybe he becomes the game changer that he's always been destined to become. Maybe those are the things that happen for LSU en route to pulling off a significant upset on the road against one of the top teams in college football on paper coming into the season. Now let's go to the other side of this game. What if Clemson beats LSU? You're going to say, well, then chalk flew. And that's not a big deal. Not so fast, my friend. Why? Because Brian Kelly in that scenario would drop to 0-4 in season openers as the head coach for the Tigers. Remember, he lost to Florida State in his opener. He lost the following year to an undefeated Florida State team that was really, really good. No shame in losing that game. And then he lost last year in what was very disappointing fashion to an SC team that would go on to underachieve. If he were to lose this game, I think if you look at it in a bigger picture, you'd say, okay, well, he lost to a team with more known commodities coming into the year. It should not be some massive indicator of where LSU goes from here, because we've seen LSU lose week 1 like they did back in 2021, only to rally to make the not to make the college football playoff, but to make the SEC championship game. So it's not necessarily an indicator of what LSU could become this year, but I think the noise around LSU's program, with what they added in the portal this year, with all the pieces that they have coming back, with the upgrades that they've made at certain positions, with the veteran leadership they have at quarterback, if they go on the road and lose convincingly to Clemson, that could be a huge problem and kind of set the stage and set the narrative for LSU moving forward. To where regardless of how many games Brian Kelly won from that point forward, people would still point back to the performance and the lack of performance, frankly, in season openers over the last few years. It also might lead to Brian Kelly approaching the offseason even more different the following year, because people have said, well, he has already been very outspoken about how they've changed their mindset going into this game, that they used to treat week 1 as if it was just any other game. They have now adjusted that and said, no, we're making this Clemson team, we're making this into a massive deal. This is our Super Bowl. Granted, it's week 1, but this is our Super Bowl. So they've already made that adjustment But if they do come up short, what will the narrative be surrounding Brian Kelly going into the rest of the season? Probably won't be a real positive one. Let's be honest with that.